Hello, Starcraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between TheAffluent and WarreN on Terraform, the latter edition. Alright, so this is a PV random that was submitted to me at falconpaladin@gmail.com. You too can submit replays to that address. I'll get them past my screener squeaks, and assuming you make the cut, then I will cast them. Alright, so let's take a look at that and that and that, and get right on into it. In the top left of Terraform, the latter edition, we have the red Protoss player. It is TheAffluent. And in the bottom right of Terraform, the latter edition, announcing himself as such, is the blue Zerg player, WarreN. So WarreN is a professional StarCraft 2 player. I believe he's more heavily into Counter-Strike right now, CS2 Go, or CSGO rather. Wow, CS2 SC2. I think that's the reason I said that. But anyway, WarreN's a pretty cool guy. I cast a show match with him a couple months ago now. He seemed pretty darn good. And TheAffluent is also someone who's been on my channel. So we'll have to see who's going to come out on top in this PvZ. I might sound a little bit echoey just because I'm in a new house. None of that, which was purchased using esports money. This was planned for months and months and months. Finally got into the new house. Finally got moved and everything fairly settled and was able to cast. But yeah, so if I sound weird, I'm going to see what I can do about making it a little bit less echoey in this room. Any suggestions you have, let me know, but we'll have to see how that goes. So PvZ on Terraform, the latter edition, generally comes down to things like disruptor hits. If it's going to be Sky Toss, how the Zerg manages to handle that. It's going to be some early Roach Ravager pressure that can be pretty good from Zerg as well, how the Protoss manages it. But yes, it is going to be a hatch first into a spawning pool, then gas here very, very soon. Here for WarreN, there it is. There's the extractor. TheAffluent getting the double gas. Oh no, a single gas. What? Single gas play here from TheAffluent. So yeah, probably just going to see some Adept play. And yes, okay. So that tells me it's going to be an early Nexus. So double Nexus tells me that we're probably going to see some pretty early tech, some Adepts into things, possibly like some Immortals as well. But the single Nexus means the Protoss player wants to get some gas up. Just enough gas and a lot of minerals to get that second Nexus up very quickly as well. And there goes the Cyber Core, a little bit late here, about the 1 minute and 50-second mark, but it's going to be fine enough to deal with what WarreN is doing. WarreN's not doing a single base play because that'd be insane. I haven't seen a Zerg player do that in quite a while. Even the rushes that I've seen have had a second hatchery there, just because. So WarreN is actually supply blocked. No, was supply blocked for just a second there, getting the queen on this hatchery and the expansion as well. So two queens are nice. The probe scouting things out, sees not much of interest at this point, sees the spawning pool, sees the two bases, really wants to know if there's going to be a Roach WarreN or possibly another gas taken here, an early lair, possibly going for mutas, but instead the probe just backs on out without really seeing what that tech choice is going to be. I suppose the Lings would have killed the probe very quickly if he'd stuck around, but in the end he is escaping. And yes, there comes the first Adept as well as Warp Gate Research on the way for TheAffluent. The Adept is going to come on down this ramp somewhere. Not being Chrono Boost though, so interesting. The Mothership Core moving on down to defend against Lings as well. Here come a couple. Mothership Core is going to go ahead and try to intercept that and kill them before they can do too much damage. And where's the Mothership going? Oh, okay, never mind. The Adept has it. One shot, two shot, and one shot. Ooh, the Ling does get in here, actually. Oh, and does the Ling scout the Robo Facility? That is the question of the day. No! Just barely doesn't get in there to find that Robo Facility. Unfortunate for that Ling. But here's the Adept. Let's take a look here. Yep, 60. Alright, so this is the current patch of Legacy of the Void, unless another stealth patch was released recently. But basically, the Adept was nerfed on its health from 90 shields and 90 hit points to 60 shields and 60 hit points. Also, an upgrade that increased that shield count even further on the Twilight Council was removed. And now in the Twilight Council, there's an upgrade for Adepts that allow them to attack faster. I think it's about 20% faster. So it kind of made the Adept a better attack option, a better damage dealing option in the later game instead of just a greater tank in the later game. But they still have the 10 damage, 23 versus light, range of 4, weapon speed 1.61, and the psionic transfer. There it is. Resonating Glaives increases the attack speed of the Adept by 45%. Oh, 45. I'm such a liar. 45, not 20. Playing pretty defensively here is TheAffluent. And probably should be taking a third base is WarreN. But yep, there's the Roach WarreN. And is there a lair? Nope, not a lair for WarreN yet. So that tells me we're probably going to see some Roach play here. Yep, 4 Roaches on the way. Burrow at the same time. Alright, so Burrow Roach. I don't know if I've seen this actually work, honestly, just because Photon Overcharge is so darn good. Let's take a look at that spell. Where's that Mothership Core? Here she is. Photon Overcharge, 25 energy, energizes the target pylon's Kadarian Crystal, turning it into a powerful long-range weapon for 11 seconds. That deals 30 damage. That 25 energy, look at how much the max energy for a Mothership Core is, 200. So what that means is if you do the math, 8 pylons can be, as the Lings take out a probe there, 8 pylons can actually be energized at the same time by a mothership core with full energy. So that's pretty nuts. Here comes the Adept's drop. Again, a little bit less tanky. We'll have to see how these roaches can do to defend against this. Going after workers immediately. The roaches respond pretty well. The Adepts are killing workers here at a pretty quick rate, and picks up, backs on out. Does the Warp Prism. Number of workers lost is 3 there, so fairly good harass. Nothing that is life-changing for WarreN, though. Although WarreN only has 34 workers to 43 probes at this point compared to the Protoss player. So I think this is going to be, yep, a Roach Ravager attack here on 2 bases. Third base now on the way. And it's still not a lair, surprisingly enough. So good Warp Prism Micro getting the Adepts out of there before they die dodging the Corrosive Bile as well. Corrosive Bile is a spell here. Launches a missile at the target location, dealing 60 damage. Where'd that thing go? Ooh, to all units in the area upon impact, and can destroy force fields. I haven't seen that used too effectively with the Ravager against force fields, but maybe we will see that more often. Who knows? The Adepts are trying to kill this hatchery. I don't think that's going to happen, and WarreN doesn't care. WarreN is pushing out with the Roaches, with the Ravagers, with the Lings, going to try to get up here. There are 2 Immortals and Sentries and a Mothership Core here, able to photon overcharge both of these pylons. I don't know if this is going to work, and meanwhile, the drop coming on back here. Again, the Adepts trying to kill more and more workers. Corrosive Bile killing the Mothership Core. Nicely played there, and I think that's enough to bring WarreN back home. No, WarreN is still sticking out here. He's trusting something to deal with these Adepts. I don't know what it is. Workers, I guess. Oh, the Worker's going to get a kill. The Workers get the Adept kill. Oh, picking that one up just the last second as well. Making another push at the front door is WarreN, and what's getting warped in here? Stalkers. All right. Corrosive Bile being thrown down again. An Adept does fall here, trying to kill those pylons, recognizing the danger of photon overcharge if a Mothership Core does come back out. But again, the Mothership Core is dead. I really don't know how this is going to work. Adepts trying to kill this hatchery, but all the action is right here at the front door. More Corrosive Bile being thrown down. These 3 Immortals, though, are very, very dangerous. They do 50 damage to armored, which Ravagers and Roaches are. The Lings at the front, again, though, trying to do all they can to these Immortals and kill them. Yes, Corrosive Bile kills an Immortal, and the Roaches at the front door are actually getting shots off on that gateway. And are they going to back out? No, getting an... Oh, nice. Picking up a Sentry, and they're going to get one more Sentry. Corrosive Bile, again, killing an Immortal, and a Sentry does go down. Corrosive might be the most effective use of Corrosive Bile I have seen yet. Ravagers using that extra range and attack speed to kill that gateway. Popping out, they want to get this Immortal if they can, and one more shot should do it, and they do. They do get it, but the Stalkers clean up the rest of the Ravagers that are here at the front door. The final Ravager and Roach are going to retreat on home. But WarreN's up to 3 bases. Still only has 35 workers, though. Now, what's in production here? 3 Roaches, 5 more drones, trying to get back up in that economy. Stalker's trying to kill that Overlord as well. Not going to happen. Hidden very, very nicely up here at the same time. And, oh, the Ling gets the probe, but the probe has already constructed the Nexus, as well as a couple pylons here, and the army's here to defend anyway. So the probe did its job. I think the probe maybe would have wanted another... No, I think that's about it. That was pretty good work by that probe again. Here comes the Warp Prism once more, taking shots from the Queen, dropping the Adepts, but there are a lot of Roaches on the ground. Good pickup, though, and again, a good pickup once again. The range on this pickup for the Warp Prism was buffed in Legacy of the Void. You'll notice the Warp Prism was back here and picked up an Adept right about here, making them a lot better able to harass against any opponent, really, not just Zerg, but really good that way too. So here comes some Lings, and here comes some Lings coming from 2 different angles, massacring those Lings on a nothing, unfortunately for the Zerg player WarreN. Wow, that wasn't a good play at all. Here comes a Ravager by its own. Do not go in there. It does not. Backs on out. Going to wait for reinforcements. The reinforcements are some more Ravagers, some more Roaches. Once again, I don't know what WarreN's planning on doing here. He saw the Immortal count. Immortals are pretty darn good against both of these units, but just going to come up anyway. So here comes WarreN, going to try to make something happen. And yes, Ravagers and Roaches actually going for these pylons before anything else, not really worrying about the army. They do get one of the pylons, trying to get the other one at the same time, but this pylon already has 2 kills. Might get 3 here. No, it does not. The kill was stolen by the ground army. More Corrosive Bile being thrown down at the same time. Immortal taking shots to the face, backing on out. Barrier automatically enabling. If you haven't seen Barrier, it is right here. Absorbs up to 200 damage, lasts for 2 seconds. About a 40-second cooldown on that autocast for the Immortals. So that is exactly how that works. No more hardened shields is the difference there. They get the Barrier instead. Okay, dropping a lot of Stalkers and Adepts here, but the Lings clean that up fairly quickly. Still, the army advantage, I think, goes to the Affluent here. A lot of Stalkers here. They do have the +1 attack upgrade. And WarreN does have the +1 missile attack as well. So pretty even on that count. It's 114 to 104 total supply. Nothing much else happening on the map at this point. A lot of gateways coming up for the Affluent. The creep spread looking fairly good for WarreN coming out across the middle of the map here. I'd like to see an observer here from the Affluent, but that's okay. Trying to throw down a Spore Crawler and a Spine at the front. Again, the Lings at the front, trying to deal a lot of damage, allowing the Roaches and the Ravagers to kill from behind at the same time. The Spine, it does get planted. The Spore as well might get that Warp Prism. Couple more shots here, and oh, the Warp Prism does manage to survive. Adepts are dying left and right here, though. Good positioning there by the Affluent, getting inside this choke, and a Immortal falls. A Stalker still alive somehow at the top there. Corrosive Bile being thrown again, gets the Warp Prism. Excellent play there by WarreN, and it's going to be a Stalker versus Ravager battle here. Who's going to win this? And a Burrow. Ooh, excellent play. The Burrow and Pickup again. They don't actually have the increased health regen when they're burrowed like Roaches do, but again, Ravager's still pretty good at the same time. 2 Ravagers fall, and good Burrow again, keeping that Ravager alive. And the Adept ends up dead, so WarreN technically won that battle. I wouldn't say he's in a great spot. It's 65 to 38 total Harvesters. The Affluent is looking super good at this point. WarreN pushing again, trying for this very, very low econ, consistent attack against the Protoss player, and I just don't know if it's going to work. Protoss players out there, take heart. I really feel like the Affluent is playing this very well on the 3rd base, taking the 5th and 6th gas right now. No such thing happening for WarreN. The Zerg player really needs gas, although sticking with this Roach Ravager lane composition, I guess, is not too gas heavy. WarreN is spending the gas and the minerals as quickly as he gets them. 107 and 103 total supply. He does have the bigger army, which he's really counting on at this point to make it work. And the Lings again at the front, absorbing some damage. He's transferring pylons, probes rather, taking some shots, managing to stay alive. Roaches and Ravagers, no upgrades. Further here, the Affluent getting +2 and Blink at the same time. Double Photon Overcharge coming on up. Corrosive Bile whiffing in that particular situation. Again, trying to get a good concave. Corrosive Bile, I think they took out a single Adept there. Pushing up again. Double Photon Overcharge once again, holding this army off. WarreN does not want to push in there at all. Wants nothing to do with it. Again, getting a fairly good concave once more, trying to kill Stalkers. Corrosive Bile on top of all these Stalkers, killing a couple of them. It's very close. I don't know who's going to win this battle, but WarreN decides it's not really worth it. Backs on out. Blink finishes for the Stalkers. They're going to chase these Ravagers down and try to kill them while trying to dodge Corrosive Bile at the same time, which is actually not very easy. So the Affluent backs on out and also manages to kill an Overlord at the same time. So it's 117 to 89 total supply. The Affluent has 63 to 40 Harvesters in favor of the Zerg player. Taking the gold now is WarreN. I think he's justified in taking a risk. The Affluent trying to take a 4th base as well, but not at the gold. And if these Lings come down here, they could be able to deny this 4th. The army's not really in position to defend it unless they come on south here. I really don't know. And yep, the Lings do manage to force a... Oh, actually kill that pylon there, kill another pylon. And then I think maybe they're just going to back out. They are a little bit trapped, though. The army coming in for the Affluent from the left side and the right side and killing an Overlord. There we go. And hang on just a second here. And we're back. Alright, so having successfully denied the 4th base there. Oh, with a burrowed Ling too. WarreN's got to be feeling pretty good about himself. Also, this gold base is just about to finish. And he's been making drones up to 45 right now. And there comes the Temple Archives from the Affluent. Also +3 attack on the way. So the Affluent, again, just playing this very, very well. I like the composition with the Adepts, the Stalkers, and the Immortals. Pretty good anti-air. And I think there must be an observer on the way because they are here defending the probes, recognizing that they cannot build a base. And just here with a lot of firepower, ready to kill what's going on here. But maybe not. Is there an observer on the map here? Units tab. No observers there, surprisingly enough. I'm not sure if the Affluent is aware of this, surprisingly. Resources lost shows the Protoss has lost 8,425 minerals. There we go. There's the observer. Just missed it there, and about 3,000 gas. 8,100 minerals and 2,000 gas. 2,700 gas here lost for WarreN. So maybe not as behind economically as I would expect. Or in these battles, they've been pretty even thus far. The army pushing up here, trying to kill a single probe that's building a pylon at the edge of the creep here. There's also an attack here with a Warp Prism. They get it. Adept on the ground getting killed as well. There are now Roaches and Hydralisks out here. Lurker Den being morphed on in. WarreN pushing up to that tier 2 composition with the Hydralisks. A good choice against what we're seeing here from the Affluent. There are no Disruptors. And Roach Hydra is really good against this composition, unless they have some of that splash damage available. Forward pylon does get taken down. And, yep, the Lings get that before the army shows up. Backing on out to a defensive position is WarreN. That 4th Nexus is coming up at about the same time. WarreN's up to 49 Harvesters now. The income tab shows us we're at about 1,200, 600 for the Protoss, and 1,600, 300 for the Zerg. So hanging out, both players are just kind of deciding what angle of attack they want to make. The creep spread looking fairly good along the top and middle lanes here. Bottom lane could be improved, but I think he lost a creep tumor here. Can't really extend it without putting a queen down in this area. I think there was a queen doing that, but they got killed. And there was an observer, so it's 157 to 136 total supply. The Affluent is up that way, has the worker count at the same time, but has completely left this fourth base undefended. But moving on to the creep here is the Affluent, killing another queen, getting another creep tumor. Another 3 creep tumors being destroyed, really slowing down the creep spread on this top base. And trying to decide how he wants to engage is the WarreN coming up here through the weeds, going to catch, the Affluent from behind. Here he comes. He's just going for it, man. And he's going to catch this Immortal just about the wrong spot there. Blinking back are the Stalkers. Catching an Immortal rallying there to its death. Gold base being put up at the same time by the Protoss player. But here's a straight up battle. Hydras killing what they can. Corrosive Bile on top of a lot of stuff. The Blink Stalkers blink forward. The Immortals in the back taking Corrosive Bile at the same time. The Hydras whittling down the Stalker composition. There are only a couple Hydras left, though. They have a pretty good angle on both of these things. More Hydras from the bottom side coming up at the same time. It's going to be very, very close, but I think the reinforcing Hydras are just too much for the Affluent. And yes, every single Stalker falls, except for the 2 that managed to blink away. The Observer is still alive, and thanks its lucky stars that it is invisible, that WarreN cannot see it. WarreN is making 64 lings. Whoa, 64 lings right now. 66 total. The 6 Hydras. What is this ling-heavy composition? What is going on? WarreN, how are the upgrades on these guys? Nothing. +0, +0, 66 lings. I don't know if that's a great idea or not for WarreN, but perhaps it was a panic response. Sometimes I do that. If I feel like the Protoss is on my front door and I need something fast, I just hit that Z button and hold it down forever and ever, and a lot of lings come out. And sometimes they're not useful, and sometimes they are. These drones need to be transferred out somewhere else. The +1 Carapace is on the way for our Zergy player, sending a small hit squad of lings down here, and they are going to catch this cannon before it actually finishes. And again, no upgrades don't matter when it's not done. Gets right into this mineral line, forcing an evacuation of these probes. A couple Adepts are being warped in to try to deal with these lings, and yes, getting us around though on the Adepts. Another big attack up here. There are a lot of Archons. These lings do terribly against Archons, and backing out exactly what needs to happen here. The ling attack did get cleaned up at the 4th base, and I think the Affluent wants to continue pushing in. I think that's the idea. Nope, and as soon as I say that, the army does back on out along this top lane that is now devoid of creep, having killed all its creep tumors. It does recede a lot more quickly now for Zerg players, so keep that in mind. Those creep tumors die, you're in a lot of trouble. Lurkers here might want to burrow, and they do. They burrow. The lings, nope. The Affluent backs on out, says, this is not somewhere I want to be, not with Lurkers in the ground. Not with Roaches and Hydras on either side of me. That's not a good attack lane at all whatsoever. Forcing the mining to stop at this gold base here from behind. Again, that's why it's really dangerous to take these bases on Terraform, is because your probes come in and they die to stuff like this. Mothership Core might take some hits from the Hydras as well. And yes, she ends up falling. That's a big pickup for WarreN. But again, this 4th base is entirely undefended, or 5th base rather. I think it is. This is probably the 6th. For WarreN, moving right on in, killing the Queen, going after these 3 workers, getting creep tumors as well. Archon does have 3 kills. The hatchery falls immediately. Army comes back. I don't know what these lings are going to be able to do, but WarreN wants to respond somehow. Probably going to defend the 3rd base is the idea. Throwing down some spine crawlers, and yes, the Affluent might try to push up here. And turnabout is fair play, going after the workers on this gold base, forcing them to retreat, getting a spine crawler kill at the same time. This creep spread is all over this Nexus, though. Another attack coming back again, picking up the extractor, slowing down the gas income for the Zerg player is exactly what the Affluent wants to do. And no mining at all happening here. I think maybe the workers should transfer down to this space. Nothing happening here at all for the Affluent. And a little bit oversaturated there. Not much happening here. Mined out and mined out. So the Affluent really needs this space to make things happen, because there are still a lot of mining mineral patches available to WarreN at this point. Here comes a push. The Lurkers need to burrow themselves, and they do get a couple spine shots off. Don't really kill much of anything, though. And they're going to do the slow siege forward. I think WarreN knows if he kills the space, he's in a good position. The Lurkers come right on in, but they are being attacked by the Adepts. The Lings come in to try to distract the attacks on those Lurkers. Managed to do a good job of it. Roaches, Hydras the behind, killing Archons as well. Immortals taking shots, getting surrounded by lings and falling. Roaches and Hydras doing a much better job here than I expected. Backing on out to the safety of the Lurkers again. Maybe trying to push in again. The Lurkers are just easy to run away from, I think, is probably the best way to deal with them for Protoss. Again, Roaches and Hydras killing all the Archons. All that are left are a few Adepts and a few Stalkers. The Lurkers are going to do a good job against that particular composition, joining up with a whole ton of Stalkers warping here, though. And the reinforcements are here. WarreN, I'm not sure if he was ready for that. Backing on out once more. An Overseer with his army would be nice to kill that Observer, allowing the Lurkers to be a little bit more effective. But again, doing some harassment on the 6th base. The Queen decides to stand and fight. She is going to die because these are +3 Stalkers. And indeed, she stays alive somehow. Even gets a transfuse off on the hatchery. And then falls. Burrowing some Lurkers here, forcing them to retreat. An Overseer with his army would be amazing, WarreN. I'm going to stop saying it until he actually gets one. Disruptor production on the way. Alright, so I think TheAffluent says enough of this strategy with the Adepts. I really need Disruptors to go up against this Zerg heavy composition, this Roach Hydra composition. The Roach's Hydras try to get on top of these Stalkers again. It is a good choice. Once more, there's the Overseer. They do pick up the Observer there. +2, +1 there for the Zerg player, and +3, +2 for the Affluent. So upgrade advantage to the Protoss player. Warp Prism here does get spotted. The Lings want to kill it, or the Hydras want to kill it, but they can't get across those minerals. Gonna accidentally meet up here. Oh, not an attack move. Couple Stalkers die. Good blink back of the wounded ones, though. The Blink Stalker composition strategy is pretty good. Some Lings come around from the top. They actually pick up a Stalker kill there. Surprising enough, more and more Stalkers are falling at this point. More and more Stalkers warping in, though. Adepts warping in. No! Canceling on that Warp Prism. Target firing by the Hydras, killing that Warp Prism as the Adepts are trying to warp in and killing them all. Oh, boy, howdy. Here comes that Stalker Adept composition once more, but the Disruptors are going to be the answer for the Affluent, if that can happen at all. Changelings with this army. The Disruptors trying to get to a spot where they can make this work. Retreating, though, as WarreN does not want to deal with Disruptors. Blinking forward, killing individual Hydras. Again, burrowing the Lurkers in a good position. Here comes the Disruption. Purification Nova does kill a single Lurker. Greatly weakens the other one there. And I'm going to set up in defensive positions here are the Lurkers. This base is up and fully running for the Affluent here at the 21-minute mark. Creep spread, again, trying to be spread across this side of the map. Going to get sniped down, though. Not going to happen. Not today, says the Affluent. Coming back here at the same time, taking some spine hits. Look at that range. Some pretty good range. Overseers, oh, in the wrong place in the wrong time. The +3 Stalkers really want to kill those guys. Coming up to the top of the ramp. And then backing out, again, is the Affluent. Just maybe waiting for some reinforcements. Yes, there's another Disruptor here to join the group, and an Observer. And more Stalkers, more Adepts. Changelings finally expired. I don't think they actually got killed. I think they just expired. Pushing on in, 125 to 100 total supply in favor of the Affluent. It's 49 to 38 total Harvesters. Again, back down to sub 40 Harvesters is WarreN. He is just trying to stay alive at this point. Never really has been able to get up to where he wants to go. Oh, Purification Nova whiffs. Good burrow micro there from a WarreN. And going to go on top of killing the Spine Crawler. Does the Purification Nova. And going for it at this point is WarreN. Hydras, Lurkers burrowing right on in, forcing a full retreat. A couple Adepts dying to the Spines as well. The Ling's doing a good job killing some stuff. But again, both players trying to make this work. Just dancing back and forth, getting a good spread on those Lurkers from all over the place. This Purification Nova does kill a single Lurker, but that's it. That's probably a fair trade as far as WarreN is concerned. The Hydras do have +2, +1 still. 14 Roaches on the way, +1 melee attack for the Lings. At this point for WarreN, again, Affluent just keeps trying to poke on in here to the Lurkers, but then decides to back on out. Not a good position at all to be in. Just kind of moving back and forth here. We're going to follow him. Neither player has taken a base for a while. It is basically 6 bases for WarreN and 5 for the Affluent. Purification Nova coming in again. Oh, whiffing, almost killing one of those Lurkers. And nope, another whiff. It only lasts for 2 seconds. It's not that far. You can't be that far away and kill stuff, but most if you're close enough, it's pretty good at the same time. So the WarreN has a pretty good spread here. This is a pretty good defensive position. Roaches and Hydras forcing another retreat from these Adepts, killing a couple of those sisters. Pushing up with the Ravager. Maybe some Corrosive Bile on top of this army would be pretty good right now. And yes, Corrosive Bile does come down. Purification Nova killing 3 Ravagers. They do one-shot Ravagers with that Purification Nova. It does do 145 splash damage and an additional 55 shield damage, which really is only useful against Protoss versus Protoss. But anyway, pushing up here along the north is a Ravager Roach Hydra composition. These Adepts are not going to hold up very well at all. They're going to deal quite a bit of damage, but they stand and die. Pushing up, going after an Assimilator, warping in more Adepts. The Lurkers are behind here. The massacre of the probes. Oh, so many probes are dying. Oh boy, Hydra, Ravager going after this Stalker composition. They stand and fight. They're not even blinking away at this point, and all the Stalkers are dead. This base completely under fire, but Disruption Nova, Purification Nova killing all of the Lurkers as well as the Stalkers, taking out the remainder of them. This lurker burrows, wants to finish off what is left at this base. Has 5 total kills at this point. Units lost tab shows 51 probes have died, 34 total for our Zerg player. 34 workers just moving right on in. The lurkers are not ready yet. Hydras, Ravagers try to kill what they can. There are no disruptors. The Lings pop on top of the Stalkers at the same time, killing a few of them. But if these lurkers pop, it's going to change the tide of this battle immediately, and they do. The lurkers pop. 4 of them manage to burrow. The Lings pick up an Adept at the same time. Lings doing a great job of this. This lurker wants to kill the Nexus all by its lonesome. Indeed it does. It's 38 to 35 Harvesters now. I think WarreN is ahead in Harvesters for the first time in the game. The lurker decides to back on out, recognizing the army does want to come to try and kill it. Observer is in production, but I think that's the only one available for the Affluent at this point. Resources lost, 27,500 for the Affluent, 10,000 gas, 26,000, and 9,000 gas for WarreN. So very, very even game thus far today. Just hanging out, again, really wanting to mine out this gold base is WarreN. He's had it for a while. Hasn't really been mining from this 6th base at all. I guess when you're on 6 bases with sub 40 workers, that's what happens. But mined out here, essentially mined out here. So this is still mining, this is still mining. But again, only 38 workers at this point. This base mining, this base oversaturated. So again, we're looking at a pretty low econ long-term battle right now here between this Protoss and the Zerg, trying to pick off individual workers and doing a great job of it. Purification Nova killing 2 lurkers with 1 blow. If they're already weakened, that can happen. Hydra's trying to stand on in, getting some Lings from the backside, trying to surround on these Stalkers, but the Archon is ready for that. Now with 4 kills, but getting focused by Hydra's, ends up dead. The Immortals pushing on in, killing individual Overseers are the Stalkers. And then backing out, going to try to kill this 4th base is what it is for the 2nd time, I think, in the game. Feeling very brave with the +3, +2 upgrades. From behind, though, come the Hydras. Purification Nova, oh, actually Wisp, because they killed the Disruptor first. Blinking forward to avenge the loss of that Disruptor were the Stalkers, getting back to the task at hand. They do want to kill this base, and they're going to be able to do it. I don't know what's going to be able to save it here. There are some lurkers coming up to burrow inside the weeds. And, yep, the hatchery does fall. And I think the Affluent is going to take a quick exit path along this top lane here. Taking some damage, actually. Standing and fighting the Broodlings, Lings, Roaches, Hydras, killing a couple Stalkers here, all by them lonesomes. And a couple Spines coming from under the rocks as well. What comes out of those eggs, the Affluent does not want to know, decides to back on out before making that happen. A couple Lurkers end up dead at the same time. 2 Hydras standing against the might of this army, dying. The drones are there as well, and that's it. WarreN calls the good game well played, is defeated, and the Affluent is victorious. So, wahoo! Pretty good CVP there. Submit it to me at falconpaladin@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for watching today. Again, I just really feel like WarreN wasn't able to get up the drone count that he wanted. The Affluent's pressure was so consistent, or WarreN was just trying to make things happen on his own, attacking consistently as well. The Zerg player really, really wants to get up to that 60, 70, 75 Harvester mark, and WarreN barely ever even got half of that. So, tough spot to be in. The Affluent, again, just kept it up. Got good compositions, switched up the tech when it was necessary. Some pretty good disruptor shots there at the same time, and that was it. So, this has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, all at /Falcon Paladin. You can also share my stuff on Twitch. I always say that, on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and Team Liquid if you're on those sites. Really would be good to get more exposure to the channel. I appreciate those of you that are here and all that you do to support me. So that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, you take care of yourself.